Local 4 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
And we begin tonight with breaking news from Detroit's West Side. That's where a Detroit police officer has been rushed to the hospital after being shot.
This happened this afternoon in the area of Prevost and Hackett. Let's get right out to Sean Lay, who's live at the scene. And Sean, what can you tell us?
I can tell you right now, sources telling me the officer is going to be okay, being treated right now at Sinai Grace. Here's the scene right here. You mentioned Hackett and Prevost. Happened on Prevost. If you look at officers there, they are talking to neighbors. They were called to this home, and you can see right behind them a yellow piece of tape in the yard. That's where this shot was fired. Fired, though, here's the situation. Officers called here for a suicidal person, a mental health run. Officers arrived, and when they got here, they are saying that a dog charged them in the yard. One officer pulling the his or her gun, firing apparently at that dog, but hitting the partner. The officer hitting the officer's partner in the leg, and that's what started this entire investigation. What we do not know right now about the person who needed mental health care. We don't know if that person was taken and helped. Indeed, we do know that the officer was taken to Sinai Grace, being treated right now. He's in stable conditions, going to be okay. Could have been a lot worse. If he hit an artery, that's not good, but this officer is going to be okay. But apparently one officer firing a pistol at a charging dog hits the person's partner. The officer hit the partner by accident, and now this investigation is underway. As soon as we get more details, we'll have them for you right here. Live on the West Side, Sean Lay, Local 4. Back to you.
And I know you'll keep us up to date. Thank you, Sean.
There are now just 12 and a half hours left before Queen Elizabeth's casket is moved from Westminster Hall, and preparations begin for her funeral Monday morning.
And the line is long enough that it will take from now until Monday morning for the people who are currently in line to get the opportunity to see the Queen lie in state. Let's bring in Kimberly Gill. She joins us now live from London. And Kim, you're working with photojournalist Tim Pamplin, and he talked to a man who used to live in Rochester Hills who wanted to get in line but was turned away. Tell us about it.
Sandra and Pam, good evening. Yes, we will, Tim and I will introduce you to that man who used to live in Rochester Hills in just a few moments. But first, I want to get to some of the news that happened earlier today. Let's take a look at some video. First up, we have the King and Prime Minister spent a second day meeting with heads of state, including Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. The President and First Lady, Dr. Jill Biden, visited the Queen's coffin late this afternoon and signed the Book of Condolence. Also, the lines to see the Queen lie in state are still very, very long, but dwindling. Waits today got up to 14 hours long. Now it's only about 7 or 8 hours long. The government let people know this morning not to join the line, or the queue as they call it here, so they could wrap things up before tomorrow's funeral. You add those crowds of people, all the foreign dignitaries here, and that makes for a massive security operation for law enforcement. In fact, they're going to be shutting down all the roads into the city in just a few moments. And finally, a very touching moment when just a few hours ago, the nation here fell silent for 1 minute to honor the Queen. And just a very, very touching to experience how all the hustle and bustle of this city came to a halt for just 1 minute to honor their late Queen. One of the people that are here honoring the Queen is a man who used to live in Rochester Hills. Let's listen to his story.
And that's why she's been important for this country.
We met up with Cameron Taylor as he was acting as a tour guide for his girlfriend and two friends visiting London from Milwaukee. Cameron used to live in Rochester Hills.
So I attended Delta Kelly Elementary for a couple of years, and then ended up at Van Hoosen Middle School for a couple of years.
Cameron and his friends were contemplating getting in line along with the tens of thousands of others paying their final respects to the Queen, but
we had a notification pop up advising us to not go into the queues because it was shut.
While Cameron and his American friends missed the opportunity to see the late Queen lie in state, they realize the magnitude of this event and will line the streets Monday for the funeral procession.
It's a big loss to our nation. It's sad, it's upsetting, but I hope, as we always do, we'll give her a fantastic traditional send-off. It's a monumental part of our history and tradition of this nation, and it's just going to be tough, but I wanted to experience it.
That's right, and most people here sharing that same sentiment, guys. Officials are going to be carrying the Queen's coffin through the streets of London tomorrow on to Windsor. We will, of course, be here covering it live for you all morning long. Until then, we'll send it back to you in Detroit. Pam and Sandra reporting live in London tonight. Kimberly Gill, Local 4.
Kimberly, thank you. Tomorrow, get up early with us in NBC News for special coverage of the Queen's funeral live from London. Lester Holt, Savannah Guthrie, and Hoda Kotb anchor this historic event starting at 5:30 right here on Local 4. Puerto Rico faces complete darkness as Tropical Storm Fiona strengthens into a Category 1 hurricane.
In fact, the center of the storm has hit the southwestern coast of the island near Punta Tacon, and it's now headed for the eastern coast of the Dominican Republic. The National Hurricane Center now saying that winds have increased. They are now at 85 miles per hour. The entire island is 100% without power right now. With more on Hurricane Fiona, let's go ahead and get over to Brian, who has been tracking this powerful storm for us all afternoon. Brian?
Yes, Sandra and Pam, definitely an interesting and developing very rapidly situation with Hurricane Fiona making landfall, as you just heard earlier this afternoon, as that Category 1 hurricane, winds of 85 miles an hour, gusting up to 105 miles an hour, and moving to the northwest at about 9 miles an hour. So hurricane warnings remain in effect for the eastern portions of the Dominican Republic. And right now, the forecast for Fiona is to continue to strengthen into a Category 2 hurricane by the time we get to early Tuesday morning and become one of our first major hurricanes of the season by the time we get to Wednesday afternoon, with winds of 125 miles an hour before starting to accelerate by the end of the week, well out into the Atlantic, but not the situation we will want to see for Puerto Rico, where they're calling for historic amounts of rainfall as Fiona is moving through the island, heading toward the eastern portions of the Dominican Republic. Here at home, it's been a tranquil evening. We'll have some sunshine, clouds increasing, going mostly cloudy overnight tonight. Temperatures dropping into the 70s by 10 o'clock tonight. We do have some rain and a few storms on the way overnight tonight, but then we've got a significant drop in temperatures on the way as we head into the week as well. I'll break down everything you can expect and more on Fiona. That's coming up in your 4 and forecast in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you so much, Brian. Well, the Lions getting their first win of the season today, roaring out to an early lead against the Commanders.
Hobie Artigue joining us now. And Hobie, I mean, this is a statement game for the Lions.
I'm not going to just say it's my first Sunday here, coinciding with a win. Maybe there's a sign.
Maybe you brought some good luck.
Yeah,
I do not know. All I know is that it was a win. Well, week 1 for the Lions is kind of a bummer, but today's game against Washington, well, enough to wash away all of those missed opportunities a week ago. Can't play a much more complete half than what the Lions did today. Aiden Hutchinson, quiet against the Eagles. He soared against the Commanders. 3 sacks, all of them in the first half for the rookie out of Michigan. DeAndre Swift, by the way, he was questionable ahead of this one, but no question about his ability. He falls down in the third quarter, somehow gets up and takes it all the way into the end zone. The Lions go up 29-15, but the performance of the day, Amon-Ra St. Brown, have you a day, my man. 116 receiving yards, 2 touchdown grabs, a historic day. More on that in a second, but the bottom line, the Lions win 36-27, now 1-1 on the year.
Man, our offense, I thought, was steady and reliable, and when we needed it, man, we answered back when those guys made some plays. So we did exactly what we needed to do. We were much more detailed and disciplined, and it showed up.
And here's what St. Brown accomplished in this one. He tied a Lions record 6 consecutive games with a touchdown catch. He tied the NFL record for 8 consecutive games with 8 or more catches, along with having 6 straight games with 8 catches and a touchdown, the only wide receiver in NFL history to accomplish that.
Wow.
Also, the Lions scored 35-plus points now for a 3rd straight game, going back to the season finale last year. The last time the franchise did that was all the way back in the 1950s.
How about that?
All right.
They say there's no such thing as a coincidence, right?
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe.
I'll just keep it quiet for now and not mess with it.
Maybe we'll bring you back continually and see. I don't know.
I think that's what we do.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
Thanks,
All right.
Still ahead, dozens of Metro Detroiters come together trying to tackle hate.
We'll take you to the Anti-Defamation League's Walk Against Hate. But first, if you're just now joining us, we're following breaking news. A Detroit police officer is rushed to the hospital after being shot on the city's west side.
Take a look here. This is the scene. This is in the area of Prevost and Hackett. We're told police were responding to a call when a dog charged at them. One officer fired at that dog, but ended up hitting the other officer. That officer right now in stable condition at Sinai Grace Hospital. Of course, stay with Local 4 and click on Detroit.com. More updates to come. We'll be right back.